Good morning, everyone. It's Stephanie Chakras here, and I thought that I would come on live to share my thoughts and insights into the toilet paper crisis, which has bewildered the vast majority of people on my Facebook feed. And for those of you who don't know me, I love to observe and to look at human behavior. And I use my knowledge of human behavior for us to all learn about how we can perform at our best and how we can be the best version of ourselves and reach our full potential. So when something like this happens that seems to be inexplicable, I love to dissect it and to have a look at, well, what can we all learn from this? So today I'm going to be talking about why it defies logic, the toilet paper hoarding, and why it's happening, and how the media and the government use fear to get what they want, basically, and also what can you personally learn from this whole scenario. So in terms of the mass purchasing of toilet paper, I just wanted to really explain so that you can understand how our human brain works and how it's evolved. So basically the outermost layer of the brain is the layer that has evolved most recently. And then as we go in and in and in and in inside the brain, we become the more and more primitive brain. So in our brainstem, which is right in the middle of our heads, really, right in between there, at the top of our spine, is called our brainstem, and it holds the amygdala, and it basically controls our survival instincts. Now, these survival instincts are way stronger than our logical brain, because our thinking brain takes time to process and then to make a decision and then to make a choice. So the amygdala and the primal primitive part of our brain controls our survival instinct. So when we're in fear and when our scarcity switch has been switched, then we behave in ways that defy logic. And that's because there's the people who have been mass buying the toilet paper haven't been able to have the capacity to take the time to become the observer and to really analyze what's actually going on for them. They're just working out of pure survival instinct. So it's the same kind of instinct that makes us withdraw our hand from a burning stove before our logical brain can think, oh, that feels hot. Oh, look, my hand is burning. Oh, I better move it off, because that process takes a much longer period of time. So we have these bodily instincts and reflexes that are really driving a lot of our behavior. So as intelligent, logical humans, we like to think that we're driven by logic. And in some instances we are, but we're actually driven a lot more by our survival instincts than we realize. So I remember myself when I was at my daughter would have been about 3 or 4 years old, and I was at a farmer's market or some kind of a market. Maybe it was a craft market. I don't remember exactly. We might have been on holidays or having a Sunday morning out somewhere nice. And there was a man selling those bubble guns that blow the kids' bubbles, and they're battery powered, and so there were bubbles everywhere, and it was creating a beautiful atmosphere around the market, and every second kid had a bubble gun and they were blowing it, and it meant every other kid wanted one. So I looked at my daughter and I looked at myself and I thought, that'd be cool, heaps of kids have got this bubble gun, and then I thought to myself, actually no, I don't really think we need one. They last 5 minutes, the batteries go flat, then you just throw them away, and we can enjoy the bubbles because everyone else has got one. My daughter wasn't asking me for one, it was just more of a thought in my head. Then we walked past the man who was selling the bubbles, and he had just a very simple table, and I could see that he'd had flattened a lot of empty boxes, and he was into his last box, and he only had 5 or 6 bubble guns left. And so he was calling out, he was saying, I've only got 5 or 6 left, I've sold out of all my stock today, come and make sure you get the last ones before you miss out. And straight away I observed that this scarcity instinct kicked in, and all of a sudden I really wanted one of these bubble guns, even though it was only a couple of minutes before that I'd considered it and I'd thought about it, and I went, nah, actually we don't want to buy one today. And I was really compelled to go quickly and buy one before I missed out. And I was playing the role of the observer, and I was like, hang on, Stephanie, you didn't want one a minute ago, and now you really want one because you can't change your mind. If I decide in 5 or 10 minutes that I actually do want one, then I'm not going to be able to get one and I'm going to miss out. And so I had to really fight that instinct to go buy one quickly. So that instinct of scarcity is something that advertisers use a lot in their advertising. So they will say, so people might be selling an online course or a retreat. They will make note of the fact that there are only a limited number of places, or if you book by a certain time, you'll get a discount. So they use things like that to help you to actually take action. Because if there's something that's always available and you can buy it at any time, then often you'll just put it off and put it off and put it off, and you won't necessarily take the action they want you to take. Don't miss out, limited stock available. So now that you're aware of this, you'll be able to see when you're watching the ads on TV or seeing the billboards or whatever about how advertisers use that scarcity tactic, because they know it drives people to act. So the next question is, okay, so that all makes sense in terms of that scarcity buying, but why toilet paper? Like, that doesn't make any logical sense, because, if we're going to be, all holed up in our homes and scared for our lives, surely there are things that we would need to hoard that are more important than toilet paper. So there are 2 sort of aspects of this. One is that at some point there must have been 1 or 2 people in the same shopping centre that had the same thought that they wanted to really stock up on toilet paper. Maybe there was a special, or maybe they thought that that would be a good idea. And then maybe a couple of other people saw that, and then maybe that one shelf was empty. And with social media, news travels so quickly that it became a thing, that, oh my God, people are stocking up on toilet paper. And so then everyone had their fear, and then everyone ran out to buy, loads and loads and loads of toilet paper. So I think that part of it was more of the momentum that was created from the scarcity. Because, there's, as a lot of people have said in my feed, there's a lot more important things that I would be desperate for, if I were to run out, than toilet paper. Because there's. But the other thing that I was thinking about that came to me yesterday or the day before was that this is a real base chakra issue. So for those of you who aren't familiar with the chakra system, it's basically energy systems in our body, and there are 7 main ones that most people talk about. A lot of people say there are a lot more than those in the body, but the 7 main ones that most people talk about, they start at the base of your spine, and that's called your base chakra. Some people call it the root chakra, and that governs the organs right at the bottom of your spine, which includes your waste disposal units, so to speak. And it's also like the base one is about being connected to the earth and about our survival instinct. So I wonder if there's not an energetic link between that base chakra energy, feeling fearful for our society, our survival, and therefore feeling driven to buy toilet paper because, when we are in a big fight or flight, our digestive system shuts down, or we let everything go so that, I won't go into the details, but you get what I mean. So I just wonder if there's an energetic connection there specifically with the whole loo paper thing. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was how the media and the governments use fear to control us, because they know how strong our survival instinct is, and they know that it can drive us to behavior that defies logic. So it's a pretty well-known fact. And I remember when I was studying history about the world wars, that you would never get a change of government. Like in Australia, that governments were stable during that wartime, because people were scared that if they changed governments, that things might be there might be an upheaval. The current government knows what's going on; they're already in the thick of it, and people change is difficult for people anyway. And during survival instinct, people will want to keep things the same as much as they can, control their environment as much as they can in order to feel safe. So that's an interesting, I've heard conspiracy theories about, well, it's interesting that this coronavirus thing has all blown up in a year of an American election, or US, there's a lot of talk about the US election. And the other thing is that the media loves drama, because the people love drama. So when there is anything like this for them to talk about, then a lot more people will tune into the news, will buy a newspaper because they're scared and they feel like they need to be informed. So it's a big, there is a lot of money in selling fear and in selling drama as well. So that's just kind of an aside as well. And hello to those people who are watching. And the last point that I wanted to make was, well, what can we learn from ourselves about ourselves in all this? Because even though you weren't one of the people who rushed out to fill their trolleys with 10 packets of 24 boxes of toilet paper, whether you were aware of it or not, you are driven by your primal brain. Okay, you're driven by the survival instinct. So the best way that we can encourage behaviors within ourselves that actually make us, get to where we want to go without being driven by sabotage and fear and scarcity kind of mentality within ourselves, is to become the observer. So to float up above ourselves and look down upon ourselves, just the way that I did when I noticed that all of a sudden I wanted the bubble gun that was going to be nearly running out. And being aware of, what am I doing? What is my behavior? What is driving this behavior? And is it fear? And is there an alternative behavior that I can choose right now that serves me better? Because purely going from week to week to week in a survival mode is not good for building the foundations to actually grow and to actually work towards success. It really keeps us at base ground level. And this is something that I've had to work through for many, many years, which is why I can speak so strongly about it, because I've experienced a lot of anxiety about being sick, about dying, about something happening to one of my loved ones. And it has really kept me small. And I'm okay with that, because, you need to be kind to yourself as well, because there's only so much that we can do until we've healed a lot of those layers and until we can move forward gently and gradually. So it's not about pushing ourselves. It's not about putting aside our human instincts and saying, okay, well, let's just disregard that, because we'll never disregard our human instincts, because that's part of our life. And I read a beautiful title. I haven't read the blog post yet that my friend Mary Lou shared, that my friend, I've forgotten her name, but anyway, I'll pop it in the comments, which said, you can't heal yourself out of being human. Okay, so we can heal the layers and layers, but the truth is, at the end of the day, we're still human, and we're all doing a version of hoarding toilet paper, which might look like that we don't show up on a Facebook Live, or that we don't go for that promotion at work, or we don't, put in our application for a new job to move forward, or, we don't have that difficult conversation with someone we're close to that we need to have a talk to. So because of the fear. So yeah, so anyway, I hope that was insightful. Feel free to share this if you know, or tag someone who might be interested in my insights and some explanation around what on earth is going on. And yes, people have gone mad in a way, because that survival instinct is just so strong for us. So if you need any support, if you need someone to help you to be that observer and to unravel why you're behaving the way you are, and how, if you're frustrated that you're not moving towards your goals, that's what I specialize in. So reach out and yeah, contact me. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you again on Monday morning for my energy reading. Bye for now.